Hi everyone and welcome to episode 142 of the Talk is Cheap show. We are here live in the AFTV studios here in North London, where it is my honour and pleasure to be able to say that I'm joined once again after a week off by my good friend, co-host, show analyst, former professional footballer, social media influencer and icon, Mr. Curtis Shaw of Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Standing, bro. Good to be back. Big up Jordan for stepping in last week. Did a very good Eddie and Ketia-like substitute appearance.
That's a bit of a backhanded compliment, that, isn't it?
Well, you know,
given what you've said about Eddie in previous times.
I thought that was a private conversation. No, big up Jordan, man. Appreciate it. It was a good show as well.
I enjoyed it, man. You know, Jordan's one of my popular and favourite guys coming on the show. He did his able best, wound everyone up as usual, and then he walked out the building.
Typical talk sport.
Yeah, this is it. This is what he does so well, man. But no, it was a good show. Generated a lot of comments and a lot of thoughts, very thought-provoking. So yeah, man, shout out to Jordan. But listen, man, it's glad to have you back. Very interested in hearing what you got to say in some of the things we're going to mention and put your way today. So let's start, man. Let's move on. News and notes. Sad note to start on, but I've got to mention it. Pablo Mari. Sad and distressing news last week, man. Pablo Mari, one of a number of people stabbed in a shopping mall in Italy last week. He didn't suffer any life-threatening injuries. There was one person that died, so obviously our condolences go out to that person, but it was a horrific attack. Yeah. And he does have some injuries. He was in hospital, and I think he's out now, but he's expected to be out of football for a couple of months. So. Yeah. Very traumatic and horrifying thing that happened. Your thoughts on it?
It's just crazy, isn't it? Like, you never expect to see them things in football, but these kind of mad things in like these shopping malls seem to happen. I think when we was in America pre-season, something happened over there.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, listen, he's lucky to be alive in the sense. I'm sure he's devastated to be out for a couple of months, but the bigger picture, he's lucky to be here, and I know we're going to talk about it further in the show, but I enjoyed I like the celebration from the team. To show their respect to him. I thought it was a good touch from the team. So man, obviously get well soon, Pablo Mari.
Yeah, absolutely. He was stabbed in the back, and as I said, it's not expected to be long-term injuries, but obviously getting stabbed in the back, nerves and stuff, could have been very serious, but like you said, we're just glad and we hope he's going to be okay. Okay, then moving on from that, I just wanted to ask you, this on a much lighter night than the Pablo Mari thing, is that in recent weeks there's been talk of a group of Arsenal fans who have got together in the clock end and they're looking to become ultras, or so it seems. The Ashburton Army. And they've been wearing similar shirts, banging drums, singing the game, trying to get the overall atmosphere of the in the ground at the Emirates up, and they've drawn a lot of attention in recent weeks. So what do you think of this proposed Arsenal ultras?
I don't know about the whole ultras thing. I don't know if we're going to be like West Ham, Green Street, and
or Crystal Palace, the homes there a lot.
But you know what? I have to give them some credit. I think the atmosphere in the Emirates this year has been a lot better. I think mainly because we're winning games, and when you're winning games, there's a feel-good factor. But I think they have improved the atmosphere massively in the clock end. I got to be honest, most of the time I sit in the North Bank when I go, but it is a lot livelier there now, banging the drum and stuff. So fair play to them. I think it's been criticised at times, the Emirates, as not being as lively as Highbury was. But I always think when you're doing well, the atmosphere gets a lot better. So fair play to them. Anything that improves the atmosphere is a good thing.
Yeah,
the ultras thing's a bit different. I don't really know.
Well, it's interesting because that side of things has provoked a mixed reaction.
Yeah.
Some people say, why not? Let's have the Arsenal ultras. Others will say, nah, man, it's a bit cringy. Don't need to go there. So, what are you saying?
It
keep the atmosphere, but not the ultras.
Yeah, what does the ultras thing really entail? I don't know. Like, just bang the drum. You know what I mean? Celebrate the goals, keep it moving. That would be my advice. No. Yeah, we don't need to be.
Don't need the ultras.
No, they don't need to be meeting up after the game for a scrap. But just keep that atmosphere.
Just keep the atmosphere. Yeah, they're doing a good job, man. It has to be said. I mean, it's not just them, obviously. But and like you said, anything that can lift the atmosphere at the ground is to be welcomed. Because let's be honest, in years gone by, Arsenal unfortunately has been known as a ground where the atmosphere is not that good.
Yeah.
So if we're in this position now that, you know, I mean, the atmosphere is very good. I mean, the manager's commented a few times, isn't it? So the crowd has played their part. So yeah, okay, let's have more of that, please. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on then to another regular feature. This one, Arsenal's last game since the last show, of which there've been 2. Let's start with the first one. Get that one out of the way.
Get this one out of the way.
PSV Eindhoven 2, Arsenal 0. Yeah. I'm not going to say too much about this, other than to say, listen, we were well beaten on the night. I think PSV had the ball in the back of the net 4 times.
Yeah.
One of which I think we were slightly lucky to get away with. But nevertheless, we were well beaten. I have to say, PSV on that night looked a completely different side to the very passive and ordinary looking team we played the week before.
Yeah.
And Xabi Simons up front, and then Luke Leon came on and basically tore us a new one, really. They did look very good and they did deserve the win. But so, what was your thought?
I think in the end we were lucky to get back with a 2-0 defeat, if we're being honest. Listen, I said the day after the game on my show, I said that it was, if we were going to lose a game, that was a game that we could get away with losing. It would have been 10 times worse to have lost in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got Zurich at home. If we beat them, we win the group. We got what we deserved on the night. I don't know if it was it arrogance? Was there a little bit of fatigue there? Was it the lack of squad depth, being able to rotate? I think maybe a culmination of all of them. And like you said, Simons, I think.
Xavi Simons.
He was outstanding. You know, everyone's talking about Gakpo, but I'd have been looking at him and saying, do you know what I mean? 19 years of age, man. You wouldn't mind him, but it was one of them. It was a bad night. Probably our worst performance of the season, but I think it was one of them you just had to say, you know what, just brush it away and just move on from it.
Just move on. I think the best thing about that game is it took place on a Thursday, and by the Sunday you got another game, which is more important.
Yeah.
And so if we move on to that game, I would say that, with no disrespect, and I know it's your hometown team, but if you want to bounce back from a pretty poor performance and a defeat, then at home to Nottingham Forest, the bottom team in the Premier League. You would probably have said, let's play Forest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though Forest, to be fair to them, were coming off a really good win the week before when they played Liverpool. But the difference there was that they was at home.
Yeah.
And they had the crowd behind them and they fed off that. And let's be honest, they were a bit fortunate as well. Although they did play well and dug in and got the goal, Liverpool missed
a lot of chances as well.
But, you know, fair play. So top versus bottom, Arsenal at home, an opportunity to bounce back. And like I said, if you're looking to bounce back after a defeat, then Forest probably would have been the team you would have chosen.
Yeah.
So it was important to get back to winning ways. And so they did. 5-0. Listen, before that game, I was saying that we needed to score a goal early. Because if you get a goal early against Forest, any little confidence that they may have had will probably drain out of them pretty quickly if you're scoring that early against them. Not only that, any plans they had to shut up shop with the low block and stuff, it kind of
goes out the window.
A little bit, because if they've got any ambition, then they're going to have to come out and play a little bit. So so listen, man, I mean, we didn't score until the second half again after the first goal, but we got a couple of goals in quick succession courtesy of Reece Nelson. And then Thomas Partey, worldy. Again, almost identical to the one he scored previous in the season. Odegaard again on 78 minutes, so that's 5, man. Very good performance, I have to say. What was your initial assessment of it?
I mean, like you said, you couldn't have chose a better opposition, and at home as well. When we scored after 5 minutes, I'm thinking, we're going to smash these lot now. Because like you said, they're going to have to attack. We're going to pick them off. I think to their credit, Forest, in the first half, towards the end of the first half, they frustrated us a little bit. When we went in at half time, I was a little bit frustrated it was only 1-0. But then in the second half, we just tore them apart. I thought Martinelli again was outstanding. Sergio Aurier at right back, ex-Tottenham, he got roasted. Saka, they literally had to kick Saka off the pitch to get him off. Which he's getting a lot of. And then Partey, I don't know what's happened to that guy shooting. Last season pigeons flying everywhere, Rosed, you know. Now
well, he slowly worked his way down, didn't he, from Rosed, and now he's putting him in the top corner.
Now they're going in the top corner, man. I don't know what's happened to him, but it was I thought second half we were unplayable. And I know people will look at it on paper and say top against bottom, you should beat them, but there's no givens in the Premier League. Everyone would have said Liverpool would beat Forest last week. I know, like you said, it was at the City Ground, but I thought we moved the ball. We were too quick, incisive. I've said many times, I think our front three at the moment is one of the most difficult to play against because they move, they interchange, they're all scoring. Well, Jesus not scoring as many at the moment, but do you know what I mean? They're putting up numbers, goals and assists. So I thought it was a dominant performance, and I think the team and the manager deserve a lot of credit because you know that PSV game and the Southampton game, they could have felt sorry for themselves a little bit. Handled business, clean sheet, 5 goals, spread the goals around the team. I mean, I know we're going to talk Jesus and stuff later, but I think the one positive of Jesus not scoring is we are spreading goals around the team, where in years gone by we've relied purely on the striker. So I thought it was a great performance.
No, I would, I said no, there. But I would agree with you. Absolutely, it was a very good performance, bounced back well. Let's have a look at the stats from that game then. So it was pretty dominant. Shots on goal, Arsenal 24 to Forest 5. Shots on target, Arsenal 10 to Forest 2. Possession, Arsenal 70% to Forest 30%. Completed passes, Arsenal 618 to Forest 275. And the pass accuracy again, Arsenal in the ascendancy, 89% to Nottingham Forest 75%. After the game, the talking points were that it was a very good performance. However, there were some concerns being expressed at the lack of goals from the strikers. When I say the strikers, I'm talking, you alluded to it earlier, Gabriel Jesus, now I think that's what, none in 7, is it? Or none in 6, one of them. And Eddie's not scored in the Premier League all season. Any thoughts on that?
Listen, I think the good thing about Gabriel Jesus is even when he doesn't score, he's offering a lot. You know, he's getting assists, his work rate, his link up. He was unplayable in that game. And a lot of the time people used to say with Aubameyang, if he don't score, he doesn't do much else. And I do think Mikel Arteta wanted a striker that is mobile, that gets around the pitch, that links up, that does a little bit more. Listen, I think Jesus has been a breath of fresh air this season. He's transformed our attack. I think he's made Martinelli and Saka better players as well, which I think that's what top players do. However, the one thing I can say with Jesus, that just to be a little bit constructive, is he should be scoring more goals. Like, let's be honest, because he is getting big chances. Even against Forest, he had a clear one-on-one. Just open up your body, little Thierry Henry finish in the far corner. He should score that. But I don't think we have to, press the panic button. I still think he's going to score goals. And I think, ultimately, sometimes we're all sitting here saying, Jesus, 20 goals, 25 goals this year. The reality is his biggest ever season was 15 at Manchester City. So maybe he's not the prolific goal-scoring striker that we want him to be. Maybe this is where he's at. Maybe get you 15 goals, maybe get you 10, 12 assists. And he does it like that. So listen, I think he could be scoring more than what he's doing, but I'm not concerned about it because I think he's contributing so much, and we're getting goals from the wingers as well. There will be times, like obviously last week Southampton, we dropped 2 points and Jesus had a couple of good chances in that game. So they're the games where you're going to say, oh, we could have done with him finishing that. So he does need to score more. But his performances, I think, are at such a high level. I don't think we need to panic. I think he just needs a goal, a tap in, a penalty, anything, and I think he'll start scoring again.
Yeah, it's a point well made. What would you say, however, to those people who say that? And there are quite a few.
Yeah.
And the minority voice is getting a little bit louder. They're saying, listen, man, that's fine. You're running around, you're creating chances, you're putting in a lot of good work. Yes, you are even improving the likes of those around you, but at the end of the day, a striker's currency is goals, and at the moment he's not scoring.
Yeah.
What would you say to that? How would you answer those people?
No, I understand people saying that, but I think ultimately you've got to. We're looking at the team. We're looking at where the team is going to finish. We've had Aubameyang win a Golden Boot, but that season we didn't make the Champions League. So obviously I'd like our striker to get that and we get top 4, but if the team is doing well, I'm not overly concerned about Jesus not scoring hatfuls of goals, because the team is benefiting from him being in it. We're top of the league, so whatever he's doing has helped us. Listen, like I said before, I do think he should be scoring more. He's got 5, I think he's got 5 league goals.
He's got 5.
Got 5 league goals. When you look at Mitrovic, has got 10 playing for Fulham. Ivan Toney's got 9, I believe, playing for Brentford. With the amount of chances we're creating, we're the second top scorers in the Prem. You would like to have thought that Jesus might have 10 goals by now. So, like I said, I do think Jesus, he does have to score more, because he is getting good chances to score.
What about this then? So, okay, you've articulated it well there about Jesus, and don't get me wrong, I do agree with pretty much everything you've said there. But then, I guess if you're a fan, of course we're all fans, you're looking at it, you say, okay, even if Jesus is not scoring, Eddie coming off the bench, and he's come off the bench quite a few times this season. He should be scoring, and he's not scored in the Premier League yet. I think he's got a couple of goals in the Europa League, but none in the Premier League. And I know previously you've been, shall we say, a little bit critical of Eddie. How's he shaping up for you this season?
You've set me up here, haven't you?
Kind of.
You set me up here, you know.
It would be like remiss of me not to ask you, because he's the backup striker. So I kind of have to ask you.
I mean, listen,
I kind of know what you're going to say.
One thing with me, I don't like to cap. Right, I'll say it is it.
It's coming.
I'm saying it is it. Eddie, for me, right now at this moment, I don't think he is good enough to be second choice striker at Arsenal. To me, when
who is it?
Well, I think somebody out there needs to be brought in, if I'm being honest, because I look at Eddie and I think, number one, has he really done enough previously to be considered somebody that we could rely on? If Jesus was injured for an amount of time now, would you feel comfortable that, Eddie, we're going to, if we were playing Man City or Liverpool or something like that? He hasn't even played that much first team football in his career. He went on loan to Leeds for 6 months, came back. He had a good little run for us at the back end of last season. He got the massive contract, the number 14 and all of that stuff. In reality, has he really proved himself? And I think that it hasn't been spoken about much. I think most people have been saying we need a midfielder and a right winger in January. I genuinely think we need a striker. I think we need somebody to go between Eddie and Jesus, somebody that can push Jesus, maybe even play with him. I'd take a Mitrovic, I'd take an Ivan Toney, I'd take someone like that.
The thing is though, and I know I've spoken about this off camera a few times, me, yourself, and even Turkish as well.
Yeah.
Those guys you name, the likes of your Mitrovic, your Tonys, your people like that, people who are establishing themselves at other clubs, realistically, are they going to come and sit on the bench at Arsenal and wait for them?
I think they would.
You think they would?
I think they would. Listen, if you're Ivan Toney signed for Newcastle at a young age, went all the way back down the leagues. He's climbed that ladder again the hard way, to get to Brentford. He was at Peterborough and teams like that. I think he would back it. I think you could sell it to him that, listen, you're not just coming here to sit on the bench. You're going to go competition with Jesus. You might even be able to play in a 2 with him sometimes. We may even play Jesus wide sometimes and play you through the middle. You'd double his wages. You'd give him European football. To me, if you could agree a deal with someone like Brentford, I don't think Ivan Toney's rejecting the move. Mitrovic the same as well, I think.
But okay, let's take for example Mitrovic and Toney to maybe a slightly lesser degree, but they are literally like
the main guys at their club,
the kings of that club.
Yeah.
If you see the way Toney and Mitrovic especially is held in such high esteem at their respective clubs, could you really see them coming to Arsenal to debate as to who's going to start?
I think they would.
Yeah.
Because listen, Ivan Toney, you remember them interviews he did before where he's going, Arsenal need a striker, and laughing at that. If you go to any big club, any of the big clubs, Chelsea, United, City, any of them, Liverpool, they've all got strikers. You're not just going to walk in and say, you're number one, you play every week. Whichever club you go to, you're going to have competition. And I think...
well, you've seen how Ronaldo reacts to not starting.
Well, yeah. Walks off. Yeah, to be fair, if you stitch me up with a question again, I might just walk off. You know what I mean? But no, listen, I think
these guys have egos, man.
I know what you're saying,
but they don't want to be sitting on the bench, no matter what team it is, no matter who's playing in front of them.
Yeah,
they're going to be thinking, I want to be playing week in.
I think someone like Ivan Toney would actually back himself that he could come to Arsenal and get in the team, whether that means playing with Jesus, he might even look at him and think he could push him out of the team. I'm not saying he can,
but then what do you do with Jesus? Because he's been sold the dream to come here in the first place.
But that's top level. This is what I keep saying to people on my shows now. I'm saying we got to level up now. You know, when you upgrade your phone,
you sound like a Tory politician.
Nah, no Tory business. Right?
Leveling up. But go on, go on.
But it's time to level up. So, Jesus, listen, you're a top player, but you're at Arsenal right now, so you should have competition. In reality now, Jesus knows this weekend if he's fit, he's playing. Eddie's there, but he's not really pushing him, is he? Do you know what I mean? So I think to have another good striker there, we've always usually
so basically what you're saying is a little comfortable. It's a little too comfortable. It needs shaking up.
I think it is. I think I've said the same about Saka as well. You know, on that right hand side with Pepe going, we haven't really had a right winger. Although we have had the emergence of a right winger this weekend, maybe in Reece Nelson. But if you're at a top club, you should have competition. Someone breathing down your neck. I think that's how you get the best out of a player. So for me.
Before we go further, I just want to read out this super chat here from Rizwan. He says, Jesus' contribution to the team and the mentality he brings to our younger players is worth more than the goals he scores. We need a better second choice striker. So he's alluding to the point I raised and what you were saying about Eddie. So you're not convinced about Eddie?
No, I'm not. Because a lot of the time when your number one striker's not a big goal getter, if Jesus gets you 15 but you've got someone on the bench who maybe gets you 12, that's your 25, 30 goals a season. But if Jesus gets 10, 15, which I think he will get 15 at least, if Eddie's getting you 4 or 5, that's not enough, is it?
Well, he ain't got one yet.
He ain't got one, so you know what I mean? But I agree with him. I think what Jesus has brought to the team is more than goals.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And I was a little disappointed that some of the fans, of it, again, not the majority, but a little loud minority, were sort of calling him out.
Do you know what? As much as I am defending him, I do understand people's frustration because strikers are judged on goals. It's as simple as that. We paid 45 million for him to be better than Lacazette, better than what Auba was, better than Eddie, and you know. People will look at the numbers. People are looking at Haaland going, well, look at his numbers. You know, Nunes is getting criticism, Jesus, because Haaland set
raised
the bar.
Yeah,
the bar's so high.
He's raised it, man.
You know what I mean? No one's probably going to get near that bar this season. But, Jesus, I just think he just needs one to go in, a tap in, a penalty. Hopefully he saves it for this weekend. You know, he didn't get suspended against Forest, so one at Chelsea would be nice.
One thing we will say about him though is that he will keep going till the end. His head's not going to drop. I'm going to say about him. So, but listen, man. Thanks for your insights on that. Interesting. Right, moving on now to the ops of the week, and there's a couple. We'll get this one out of the way first and foremost. Europa League, FC Zurich on Thursday. Need a point to top the group and then avoid the two-leg playoff with a team that's dropping down from the Champions League.
Yeah.
Without wishing to be complacent or overconfident or just flat out arrogant, I think we should be all right, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I mean, they're bottom of the group. I think they beat Bodo Glimt last week, Zurich. They give themselves a chance of coming third, so they're going to go for it, because I think if you finish third, you go into the Conference League. So they have got something to play for. I would like to see a few players rested for this. I know we do need to get a result of some sort, but watching them in that first game, they weren't great. They're not exactly high flying in the Swiss league either.
No, they're not. No.
So the likes of Partey and that, I would like to see them not even on the bench, to be honest. I'm sure Arteta will put them on the bench as an insurance policy, though. But I think we'll win. This is a chance for maybe Eddie or whoever to go and bang a couple goals in.
Eddie.
Even Jesus, like, you could have an argument that, you know, he might need to play a little bit of this just to try and get a goal.
It's a bit risky though.
It is, because we can't afford him to get injured. But no, I think we'll be all right. I think we can play maybe half of our team. It's at home. I
wouldn't mind betting that Jesus probably would want to play.
I think he would. Yeah, when you're not scoring, you want to play. You just want to score and get that out of the way. So it'll be interesting. It's a big game, I think, for Fabio Vieira, because he's somebody for me that when we signed him, I was a little bit like, did we need to spend 35 million on that kind of player? I think he did really well the first couple of Europa League games. The last few weeks, he's been a bit, missing in action really. Looks a bit lightweight, not really affecting the games enough. So I think he needs a performance as well. So
I think in each of those games he's shown flashes, hasn't he,
Yeah.
of what he could be, but it's not really been consistent over the game, which has led to the sort of criticism that he's had.
Yeah.
For want of a better word, I hate to word criticism, but people have called him out, said he looks a little bit lightweight. So you're right. Games like this are big for him.
Yeah.
And we do need a result, so the motivation is there.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we go. Predictions?
I'll go 2-0.
Yeah, similar. I can't see us slipping up.
No.
And the fact that we need to do it means that we will do it.
Yeah.
So why not? Yeah. Okay, and then that sets us up nicely for the
big one,
the second game of the week, our second Ops of the week, midday this Sunday. Chelsea versus Arsenal, big London derby. North London versus South West London. So it's massive, man. And it's not just a London derby. I'm also calling it the Auba derby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this got special significance for a number of people, man. Like I said, the Auba derby. First time we're coming up against Aubameyang since he left the club in, let's face it, fairly acrimonious circumstances.
Yeah.
He's been very careful to place on the record that he has nothing but love for the club. His gripe is with the manager. So I would imagine there'll be a lot of focus this week on Aubameyang, and people will be digging into what happened between them and all sorts of stuff. But I'm going to slightly different take on it. Let's look at Aubameyang when he was at Arsenal. I mean, anyone who watches this show regularly will know that I was a big fan of his. And I still like the guy, man. Still like the guy, still like the player. He's not the Auba that he was when he was with us, I have to say that.
Yeah.
He's 33 years old now, so not quite the same player, but he's still a very good player. And whilst he's not been starting for Chelsea, I would imagine he's going to feature at some point in this game. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him. So let's look at that situation. He joined Chelsea in September 2022 from Barcelona, where he'd gone there after falling out with Arteta. He scored 11 goals in 18 games for them, and they did like him while he was there. However, their financial circumstances were such that he ended up leaving. They signed Lewandowski and a number of other players, so he's ended up at Chelsea. He's been at Chelsea since September 2022. He's played 10 games for them, scored 3 goals, 1 in the Premier League, 2 in the Champions League. So he's not hitting his straps yet, but a game like this, you would imagine that the motivation for him is going to be very high. Of course, his record at Arsenal was outstanding. Let's have a little look at that. 68 goals in 128 games, so that's better than 1 in 2. 92 goals in 163 appearances overall. Amazing. Quickest striker in the Premier League for Arsenal anyway to get to 50 goals. Golden Boot winner in 2019. Runner-up in the Golden Boot the year after, actually. And then, of course, in 2020 when he really delivered, he got us that FA Cup, didn't he? Scored both goals against Chelsea. He was instrumental against City in the semi-final. And in that same year, we won the Community Shield. He was instrumental in that as well. In the 1-1 draw, I think he scored the goal, and then he scored the decisive penalty. So he was becoming a bit of a legend at Arsenal, and then it all fell away quite rapidly. Now, Curtis, your thoughts?
I mean, listen, I think everyone loved Aubameyang when he was at Arsenal. He was an infectious character, but ultimately it fizzled out. The chapter ended, and we moved on and got Jesus. I think we're in a better position for it. It's going to be an
interesting. Who's a better player for you?
I think
Jesus or Aubameyang?
Right now, Jesus is a better player.
No, not right now. Who's the better striker though?
I think I would say Auba was the better goal scorer. Okay. He was the better goal. I wouldn't say that Jesus has even hit his peak of his career. He's 25. He spent 5 years at Man City. He's never been the first choice striker really. So I don't think we've seen the best of Jesus yet. Where I think we've seen Aubameyang at his very best. He's more on the decline now. The game's going to be interesting. I don't think Arsenal should give him a bad reception in terms of the fans. If he went directly to Chelsea from Arsenal, I think that's different. But he went to Barca, and Barca, got rid of him, like you said, because lower.
It is an away game, so it's slightly different insofar as
you'll see more at the home game.
Yeah. But what kind of reception do you think the fans will give it?
I think
I've been thinking about this, and I'm not quite. I think some like myself will just be appreciative of what he done and give him that respect, whereas others might look at it and say, "Well, you're called out in the manager." Then he made those comments, didn't he?
Yeah.
A little while back, some people said that was a little bit.
I think a few people will give him a little bit of a tough time because you know the fact he's gone to Chelsea now. Some people say. I see Ozil's agent put out an interview yesterday saying that Ozil would have never signed for another English club and that Aubameyang should have
Really?
rejected.
That?
Yeah,
Wow.
like, you know what I mean? So I think a few people will give him a tough time, but listen, it's football, innit? What's he going to do? Barca don't want him, Chelsea want him, he ain't going to
It's
say
professional football at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, he might not even start this game. He hasn't started the last few
I don't think he
games.
will start.
No, I don't think he will.
But I do think he will play.
He'll come on at some stage, and obviously he's going to be motivated to prove a point. But listen, we got that big French beast at the back waiting for him now, man. You know what I mean? For me, probably been, I would say, up there with Lissandro. I think this season, Saliba's been the best centre back in the league in terms of form.
Yeah,
I thought he was outstanding against Forest. I've always backed to his best again. So. Listen, Auba, if he comes on, you listen, we know he's got good movement and he can finish. You're going to have to deny him space, but I think the best way to stop him is for us to go and score against them and push them back a little bit. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic, though. I wonder if him and Arteta will embrace or shake hands or anything. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're Arteta, you would like to think you'd be the bigger man and extend the hand of friendship there, I guess, and put it behind you, but you never know.
You don't know how they feel about the situation.
It might not happen before the game, but I hope they can actually, because at the end of the day, me personally, to me, he was a legend at Arsenal, and I will always respect him. Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, because we went through a time when really, let's be honest, he was the main guy at Arsenal. Remember that, when he was scoring goals week in, week out. And let's face it, we weren't that good a team. Yeah. And he inspired us to win the FA Cup at a time when Mikel Arteta was struggling a little bit as a manager. So that has to be taken into account as well. But obviously things move on. There were, without a doubt, there were bits of indiscipline there that cost him, and it led to him getting the captaincy taken off him, which I personally didn't dispute him having the captaincy taken off him for being late. There was an issue over his lateness. Where I had a slight issue is I felt that the club they did treat him a bit harsh, the way it ended up. I mean, I know a lot of these things don't often end well, but I just felt it's a bit of a hammer to crack a nut. You're taking him outside, you stripped him of the captaincy, yes, but then he was training with the kids, and it just seemed to go a little bit awry.
I think, and I've always said, if he was in form, I don't think that would have happened. I think they weighed it up and thought, he's in his 30s, he's on 300 grand, he's not hitting the back of the net. This is the perfect option. Because the thing is, when a club's trying to get rid of a player that's very popular, if they sell him under normal circumstances, they're going to get a little bit of animosity from the fans. Where getting him out there was like, everyone was like, okay, get rid of him, he's a bad apple. You know what I mean? So Arteta then could say, get him out, and I get away with it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think Auba did himself any favours.
I would agree with that. I mean, if you're late, you're late.
If you're late, you're late. My bigger issue was not replacing him, because I think if we replaced him in January, we'd have got top 4 with the goals. If we'd have got the right kind of striker in, maybe there was waiting for the summer to get Jesus, couldn't get him in January, and all that Vlahovic stuff. So
some would argue that we haven't replaced him.
Yeah, do you know what though? I think we've changed the dynamics of our attack now. I think before our attack was kind of built around him. I often felt like if he didn't score in a game, we weren't going to score. And I don't like that. I felt like Van Persie as well was a little bit like that. We needed him to score. Where now, I'm not looking at just Jesus, because I'm thinking, Martinelli will score, Saka will score. Thomas Partey and Xhaka will score. You know what I mean? Them man are scoring. So
the midfielder's stepping up for sure.
I think it's better when
you share the goals.
4 or 5 people are getting your goals rather than one. So they're not like for like. They're totally different players. But I think we're in the better situation than them. You got a 33-year-old who's past his best, we got a 25-year-old who I think has still got his best years ahead of him.
So basically what you're saying is, with the Aubameyang thing, it's worked out for the best.
In the end,
as far as Arsenal are concerned, anyway.
Definitely for us. Yeah, definitely as well.
So he wasn't wrong then, is what you're saying. Maybe the way he was treated at the time could have been a little bit more.
Yeah, listen, I think when a player's done a lot for a club, which he did at the end of the day, he came at a time when we were a bit desperate. Sanchez had gone to United. We got him in. We were quite fortunate to get him. And he did really well. You would have liked him to have gone out, you know, applaud the fans and all that. He kind of went out the back door, didn't he? Which was a bit disappointing. I think the same thing happened with Ozil, though. He didn't really get a game. No. You know, when Ramsey left, he was on the pitch clapping, everyone crying, you know. Ozil and Aubameyang kind of just, you know, get out of here. Like, you've been the naughty kid in the classroom.
It was a little disappointing.
But I think we've moved on. I think we're in a better position. And I hope he's squealing on Sunday. I hope Saliba pockets him. And Jesus is doing, you know, call me business and all that. But
it's interesting because I actually watched Aubameyang closely when he played for Chelsea a couple of weeks ago against Man United. I sat down and watched the whole game, and he was one of the reasons why I was interested in watching the game, because I knew that we'd be playing him soon, and I wanted to get a good look. And I have to say, on that particular day anyway, he didn't have a good game. And you're starting to. But then, listen, he's 33 years old. He's not the main man at Chelsea. He's been brought in pretty much as a backup striker. So, but I just think that this weekend, though, if he does get game time, which I think he will, his motivation is going to be through the roof.
What you cannot do is, you know these little mistakes at times that, for example, Gabriel's been doing at times, giving the ball away. You don't want to give him a big chance. That's for sure. We all know that. The last thing you lose as a striker is your ability to finish. You know, you might not have the pace or the strength, but you give him a good chance, he's going to slot it away. So, yeah, it's going to add an interesting dynamic. Like you said, I'm not sure whether he'll start. I don't think he's started the last couple of games.
No, he's not, no. But I do know that Graham Potter has been pleased of his overall contribution. He said that on the record a couple of times. And also we know that Aubameyang, he had that horrific incident out in Spain. His family got robbed and he got assaulted. There was rumours that he even suffered a broken jaw in that attack. He joined Chelsea, and I know Graham Potter said his attitude and everything's been spot on. He did score a couple of goals in his first couple of games there, but it's kind of gone a bit quiet since. But we'll see. In terms of the game, I just want to read out super chat as well from Alex Kim. He's gone back to Jesus, saying that Jesus can play as a winger and Tony as a centre forward.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's interesting. You
can move him around.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Alex. That's a good contribution there. In specific to this game on Sunday against Chelsea. So Arsenal go into it top of the league, 12 games, 31 points, 10 wins, just the one loss to United and a draw Southampton. Chelsea, however, 6th, 12 games, 21 points, 6 wins, 3 draws and 3 losses. And the last couple of times we played Chelsea, we've actually done all right against them. We beat them 4-0 in pre-season friendly, which arguably was a game that's kind of inspired what we're seeing this season. So that's turned out to be quite a big win. We did lose to them last season, at home actually. They beat us. That
was when Lukaku was moving like a monster.
That's right.
Yeah.
About the only time he did. But then we returned the favour. We beat them at their place 4-2. Quite a comprehensive win.
And Eddie scored in that game.
He did.
As well,
I was going to say that. He did. That was one of his better games actually. So he'll be looking forward to this game this weekend, I would have thought. So how do you think you'll go with the team? You think it kind of speaks for itself?
I think the whole Arsenal team probably picks itself apart from the left back.
Well,
that's the only position.
I was going to ask you about that because there's been some murmurings recently that Kieran Tierney's not happy that he's having to sit on the bench while Tomiyasu takes his place. And if you think about it from Kieran Tierney's point of view, you basically got a right back taking his position of left back, so he's not going to be happy about that. Apparently, I don't know how true this is, he's let his feelings be known that he's not happy about that. Would you keep that same team, or would you be tempted to bring Tierney back?
Do you know what? He must be frustrated because Zinchenko is in front of him playing well. Zinchenko gets injured, he's thinking, right, my time now, I'm back in. And then Tomiyasu comes in at left back, and you're thinking, so Tierney effectively is our third choice left back at the moment, which, you know, if you're him, you're probably having a conversation with your agent, like, what's going on?
It's true.
Because a lot of clubs would take Tierney.
Oh, definitely.
You know, left back is not a position that there are loads of top players there. But Tomiyasu, I thought a couple of weeks ago, I thought, yeah, you need to stop playing him at left back. It's not really working anymore. But then he played really well the other day against Forest, and I was a bit like, I think what Tomiyasu offers you, he can cut inside, and also he's so good in the air. If you cross it from the opposite side to the back post, he wins a lot of the headers. And we know a lot of the time the blueprint is what Pep does, and Pep's got a right footer playing at left back in Cancelo. I got to be honest, like, I like Kieran Tierney a lot. You know, I think he's a top player, but I think he's probably going to go Tomiyasu again against Chelsea.
What would you do?
Do you know what? I think at the moment Tierney is, when I'm watching him play, I think he maybe lacks a little bit of something in possession of the ball. I think he's a very good defender. I don't think he's amazing on the ball, and I think Arteta wants people who are really comfortable on the ball, can step into midfield as well. Zinchenko's the ideal one, and I don't know what's going on with him, because every week he said, he might be available at the weekend. We haven't seen him for about 5 weeks.
I know.
But yeah, I think Tomiyasu's going to play again.
Which is ironic, because Zinchenko, by many people's estimations, was brought in because it was perceived that Kieran Tierney had a problem with his injury. So we're getting somebody a bit more robust in that position now.
No, he's broke. It's the Arsenal effect, isn't it, man? But no, and as you say, the rest of the team, I think, picks itself, which I think is a positive. It shows that, you know, Ramsdale, the back four, everything picks itself.
Listen, for me, I guess you can't argue with a winning team.
Yeah.
But I am going to say I'm a bit of a conventional person. I like round pigs and round holes.
I know what you're saying.
And I think Kieran Tierney can consider himself very unfortunate to be still on the bench. I'm not sure that there's things that Tomiyasu are doing that Kieran Tierney couldn't have done as well. People are saying physicality, but Kieran Tierney is a very strong, quick, athletic defender.
And he trains in a t-shirt when it's snowing.
He does. So I've got no doubts about his physicality or athleticism or anything like that. And I'm not really seeing stuff that... And listen, don't get me wrong, I like Tomiyasu a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing anything that he does that Kieran Tierney couldn't do.
Yeah, I get
so
it.
is it worth upsetting the balance and everything? And I'm ultimately upsetting the player to the point where, you know...
He's unhappy. I think Tierney keeps playing the Europa League games as well on the Thursday.
Yeah.
So is the manager thinking he can't play 2 games in 3 or 4 days, you know, because of his injuries in the past? I'm sure Tierney's just going to look at that as an excuse, but I just think at the moment somehow he's ended up as third choice. I don't know how. He loves Tomiyasu. You've also got to remember, Arteta never...
But he used to love Tierney.
Yeah, but Arteta...
I remember him waxing lyrical about Tierney, saying he's the ideal pro, captaincy material and all that stuff, and all of a sudden, I guess that's the vagaries of management, isn't it? You've got to...
Do you know what you got to look at, though? 2 things here. He loved him because the second choice was Nuno Tavares. Tierney was a lot better than Tavares. Yeah. And second of all, Arteta never signed Kieran Tierney. And, you know, I think as a manager, you're going to stick with the players that you've signed.
Good point.
He signed Ben White, he signed Tomiyasu. So he's getting them in ahead, and Zinchenko obviously was his signing. So he might look at Tierney and think, yeah, you're a good player when I had Tavares, but now you're third choice, mate. You know, if you want to train in a t-shirt, so be it. But you need to get on the ball and make something happen. So I think Tomiyasu will play left back again. I think he's ahead. I think Tierney will play against Zurich, and I think he'll be on the bench for Chelsea.
And I think you're right, because at the end of the day, you won 5-0 last weekend. Why are you going to change your winning side? Especially going to a place like Chelsea, which over the years has been a difficult test for us. Let's look at Chelsea a little bit. Now, they've got some outstanding players. We spoke about Aubameyang. Okay, he's not the Aubameyang of old, but he's likely to be a threat to us. But they do have some legitimate threats, you know what I mean? They've got the likes of your Sterling's there, Conor Gallagher's, Mason Mounts, Havertz, people like that. And at the back, Thiago Silva, Koulibaly. So, you know what I mean? They're inundated with several good players. Anyone that stands out from Chelsea to you? We spoke about Marion, but anyone else that you're slightly concerned about?
I mean, listen, Sterling's a top player. It's a player that I wanted us to sign him in the summer. I think no Champions League football probably stopped us from being able to do it. But Chelsea are a name brand team. You know, they've always had name, but they go for the big hitters, big wages. Do you know what it is? And I don't know how to feel about it. I've got this like crazy confidence that we're going to go and beat them on Sunday. We're 10 points clear. We're scoring goals. We're pretty much at full strength. Hopefully, if Saka's not injured. They've obviously just got slapped up by Brighton.
They got tonked.
I think they drew the game before as well. I think they drew with Brentford.
But is that a good thing though?
Because I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? A lot of teams, especially your bigger clubs like Chelsea, once they've had a couple of indifferent results, especially last week getting slapped by Brighton like that.
The reaction.
There's going to be a reaction. Of course, they're at home as well this week. Last week they were away at Brighton. This week they're at home. The fans are going to be up for it. Is it the best time to be playing them after a loss? I know that kind of sounds weird, but trust me, when you look at...
It's like the wounded animal, isn't it? You know, sometimes they...
And the fact that they're at home.
How I look at it, though, I think you can flip that back on them. And I think if we can go there, start well and score first, I think then you start getting them feelings back from the week before. Like, oh, man, lost 4-1, now we're losing. The crowd's probably having a little moan. Because I've seen, listen, I'm not saying many of them, I've seen a few Chelsea fans questioning Graham Potter already.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? You know Chelsea don't mess about with managers. They just dash managers away quick.
Yeah.
A defeat at home for that, I think they would consider themselves favourites for this game just because it's at Stamford Bridge. I think they would expect to beat us. So I think if we can go there and turn that pressure back on them, I don't know why I don't often go to Stamford Bridge and say, like, I think we're going to beat them. I honestly think we're going to beat them. I think our front three, they've got no Reece James.
Well, I think you've got grounds for saying that. I mean, we beat them there last season. And let's face it, in our most recent game again, I know it wasn't a league game or anything, but we absolutely put it on Chelsea.
Demolished them.
Yeah.
Demolished them.
So I would imagine, especially as well, you said that we're top of the league and we just won our last game 5-0. The confidence is there, man.
I mean, I said before, I think we spoke about it the other day, I said, realistically, I would take a point. Without meaning to sound like, I think if you get a point away at one of the big teams and then you can beat them at home, that's a great turnaround. A point would be a good result for us. But because we're top, because, you know, I'm starting to think a little bit higher up the table now. Like you said, I watched that Chelsea-Man United game the other week. I think Man United were the better team, to be honest.
They weren't very good, Chelsea, I have to say.
And I still think they're not quite there yet, Chelsea, where I think we've really settled.
Because they brought in quite a few players in quite a quick space of time, and it's not new manager as well. It's not gelled yet.
Yeah,
so.
Like even Sterling, I've seen people saying Sterling, you know, is he going to keep his place in the England team because he's not playing great? I just think we can catch them out. I think there's a big opportunity for us. I've always said I want us to go to the World Cup top of the league, and you know, if we can beat them, I think it sends, because we haven't beaten any of the top big six teams away from home this season yet. We beat them at home. So I think to go to the Bridge and beat them would be like, listen, we're a serious team this season.
Right, I just want to read a super chat, another one here from Rizwan. He says, thoughts on Mikel being lured to Barcelona? Does the entire process fall apart if Arteta leaves the club? Also, what do you think we need in January?
I did see that rumour today, Barcelona, because Xavi's under pressure. They've been obviously knocked out. They reckon Arteta's on this long list of managers that they're looking at. They like people who've had connections to Barcelona in the past. So, I mean, it's interesting because, you know, me myself, I've questioned Arteta a lot in the past, but right now he's probably pivotal to what's happening at the club. So,
definitely, yeah. We've got to give him his flowers. Man.
Yeah, no, I mean, he just signed a long contract, 3.5 years, I think he signed. So
I can't see him leaving Arsenal for that.
The Barcelona job, I think, would always tempt him. I'm not saying he would want it now, but I think he would have to think about it, being that he's from, you know, Spain and Barca, and he's been there. And then the other thing, what did he say? January. I mean, January for me, like I said, I think we need a centre midfielder. I think Xhaka and Partey have been fantastic, but the drop off, you know, your boy Sambi.
We won't talk about Sambi this week.
We won't talk about Sambi.
Getting enough stick about Sambi. So far to say that he will might feature or something.
But Sambi, and then I think we need, for me, a striker.
Yeah,
maybe a winger.
The spine needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson had a great game the other day. I was delighted for him to come on and score. I think he deserved that. We need a right winger that can push Saka. You know, Saka might not play this weekend. depending on that injury. Pepe went, and I think you've got to bring someone in. So for me, minimum you've got to get a midfielder and at least one attacking player, whether that's a winger or a striker.
So there you have it, Rizwan. My man's spoken about
Rizwan.
that. Right, okay then. So let's bring it back round then. Chelsea.
Yeah.
Massive game. Got the World Cup coming up a couple of weeks, so this is probably the biggest team we're going to play on,
Yeah.
until then. So what you're saying, we spoke about the team formation, tactics, going to be, we go out there on the front foot, or do we...
You got to be cautious. It's a big team away from home. Their crowd's going to be, right up for it. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff. I think over the years, I've always thought Arsenal don't perform great in early kickoffs. So we got to be cautious, settle into the game. I really hope Saka's fit. Really hope he's fit. I think we can hurt Chelsea down the sides. No Reece James. I think Reece James is one of their best players.
Oh, definitely.
And I think they play Chalobah or Aspilicueta in that position, who I think Martinelli can rip both of them apart. Aspilicueta's about 35, and Chalobah scored an own goal against Brighton. I think Martinelli can destroy either one of them. I want Saka on the other side, because I think Cucurella they've got on the other side, who is decent, but I think you can hurt
set the world alight. Yeah.
No, not really. They've rotated him with Chilwell.
That's what I'm saying. They're bringing in a lot of players in a short space of time. New manager as well.
And a difference with Arsenal, a lot of the time when you play Chelsea, I think the midfield battle we've lost at times. When Kante's been firing. But you got Kante injured. I think Kovacic is injured at the moment as well. He's missing their Champions League game. And I just think, one thing I've got to say right now, I think Thomas Partey at the moment is playing the best football of his Arsenal career. I think he's an absolute beast at the moment.
Yeah.
He's staying fit. He's just roughing man up. He's scoring goals, and even Granit. Those two are playing their best ever Arsenal.
That is an excellent point.
And together, because it's funny. I've said so many times, get a midfielder to replace Xhaka. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a better partnership. Sometimes two top players, they don't necessarily play well together. So. This is why I think we're going to beat them, because I think we can go there and win that midfield battle now, and we're coming for all the smoke, man. I'm telling you, we're coming for them.
We've got another super chat here from E. Ross. He says, CCCC unit.
Big up
Sambis Laurie. Listen, man, I'm not going to make no apology for defending the guy, because like I said, I don't think he's been as bad as what Peter was saying. You're taking a guy that's used to playing in different positions into a number 6. He's normally a number 8. He's a young guy. He's got to get used to the role. It's not like we're losing every week, is it? Give the man time to settle in. I understand some of the criticisms. I just think people are going a bit too over the top with it. Let him marinate, man. Let him grow. He will. I've got belief in him that he can be a good player for us.
Do you?
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I'm taking the advice of the well-esteemed and learned Vincent Kompany, who has been very lavish in his praise of Sambi.
He was selling him to us at the time, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's also that to take on board.
If you're selling someone a dodgy car...
But listen, if he's played for Belgium and that, man, listen, Belgium one of the top sides.
He's not in the Belgium squad anymore, though.
No. Yeah, but it's because he's not getting any football now.
No.
But, listen, man, I think he can come good.
Do you?
Yeah, I think there's worse things we got to worry about, like who's not going to score the goals when...
Jesus and them.
Jesus are not scoring. I think we need to.
You've made a good point, but I'm not overly convinced.
I know you're not. No. You've been saying that for weeks.
We need that upgrade in January, man.
Listen, I'm not complaining about that upgrade. I'm just saying that the amount of stick that Sambi's getting. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen online, it's just been like, come on, bro. It's not been that bad, and it's a number 6 role. Go look up the definition of what a number 6 in the team is. It's pretty basic, man. Defensive midfielder, you just get the ball, retain possession, pass it on, and you go again. People are acting like they expect this guy to beat 2 players and curl it in the top corner, or make slide rule passes every week like Kevin De Bruyne. He's not in that role, bro. So
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, because of the role. He's not gonna. It's not a glamorous role.
It's not a glamorous role. It's a very basic role in the team.
I just think, for me, he's unreliable. I don't look at him and feel secure with him on the ball. I feel nervous when he's on the ball, and I just think He's 23. I know. Like,
how many games have we lost for Sambi?
No, listen, but he hasn't played that much, has he? Because ultimately, Partey and Xhaka have been available. I just think the drop off is way too big, and that's the problem. I think you need someone again to bridge that gap. When we went to Old Trafford, he played, and their midfield destroyed us that game. Bruno set up goals. Eriksen got man of the match.
But to be fair to him, there was a number of people that were pretty average that day. I would even go as far as to say few of them were poor.
I look at Sambi, I think, okay, we got rid of Guendouzi. I know that was for attitude rather than talent, but he was, for me, head and shoulders above Sambi. And if we're now saying, we've gone from a team that was going, oh, can we get fourth? Right now, we're having conversations about, can we go all the way with Man City this year? To do that, the level's got to be lifted. And to me, Sambi for me should be on loan with Nuno. Like Nuno Tavares, I think they were in a similar category, that you've got raw talent, but you're not quite ready for this top level Premier League. I think Sambi could do with getting game time somewhere else.
We'll see how it plays out.
We'll
another
see.
super chat here. There's no name attached to this, but it said he's basically saying that Tierney too stiff and Zinni. Basically, yeah, he's saying that Tierney too stiff. I don't know quite what to make about that. But another one here, Laurie, I think Sambi isn't a DM. He should play number 8. Listen, man, he's a young, athletic, gifted footballer. He's playing out of position, but I do believe there's potential there, and I think some of the fans have been a little bit too harsh on him. That is my view. I know many of you are going to disagree.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
The thing is, I know what you're saying there, but I think when you play in midfield, 6 or 8, it's not like playing left back and then playing right wing. You're in the same position. It's a different role. You're not as advanced. You're playing a little bit deeper. I don't really even look at Sambi and think he's an 8, because 8s are meant to go and join in the attack, create chances, score goals. I mean, I haven't really seen this guy letting off long shots or picking out gems of a pass. Listen, I don't want to completely write him off. He hasn't been at the club that long, and listen, if Xhaka can turn things around after what he's been through,
I mean,
but how long do you wait?
You have been quite critical of
that's an understatement.
for a long time.
Yeah,
and, look,
and rightly so.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
you know what I mean? But he's turned it around.
But he's turned it around. So.
Yeah.
Right, another super chat here from Rice says Trossard and Lamptey from Brighton.
I like Trossard, man. He's balling this season, man.
Balling out.
He ain't got long left on his contract either.
He ain't got long left at Brighton.
No, I don't think he has.
And he is part of the Belgian squad
is.
that'll be going to the World
Clubs
Cup.
will be looking at him.
Yeah, he looks a player, man.
I'd take him.
Everything good about Brighton seems to revolve around him these days.
Yeah, he's good. We nearly actually signed him. Wenger nearly signed him.
Yeah, but we said that about him.
Well, he nearly signed everyone, to be fair, didn't he? Yeah.
He said that about Messi a few years ago.
Yeah.
Listen, bro, I'm enjoying that conversation, but we've got to get back to business. Chelsea versus Arsenal, as we said, massive game for a number of reasons, not least for the fact that we come up against Auba again this weekend, or we think we will. Score prediction, man. What are you saying? I kind of know where you're going with it, but I want you to tell the people what's going to happen and why. I'm
going to go for a 2-1 win. I do think it'll be a close game. I'm not saying, we're just going to roll up to town and just batter them. It won't work like that. Chelsea are going to be up for it. Like you said, they've just lost 4-1. And their manager's going to be fuming with that. He got a lot of stick in that game from Brighton fans as well. So they're going to have a go at us, Sterling and them, but I just think as long as Saka's fit as well, I think we can hurt Chelsea down the sides. I think Martinelli rips apart Chalobah or Aspilicueta, both of them. Saka, I think, will cause problem. Jesus will just be a menace.
Martinelli's got good form on that.
Yeah, man. Running from his own half. I just think our midfield's solid at the moment. And the defence, I've got confidence in that back four at the moment. Ben White, I think, I weren't always his biggest fan. I think he's been one of our best players this season. He should be going to the World Cup. Saliba, he was back to Rolls Royce settings last week. I think we're going to beat them. I think we'll be up for it. I think our front three will be lively. And I'm going for a 2-1 win. But as I said earlier, if we drew the game, I still think that would be a positive result, but I think
you know what, I hear you, bro, and you know what, I'm going to disagree with you.
Go on.
we're going to win 3-1.
Oh.
No, seriously, I've been thinking about
Sambi's going to come off the bench and put one in the top corner.
That would be the perfect storm. But I do think Chelsea are going to score, and you won't be surprised to hear me say that he's going to get their goal.
Yeah, you're going to.
I think Aubameyang will score their goal.
Do you think he'd celebrate if he scored?
I wouldn't have a problem if he did, but I don't think he would.
No,
I don't think
no front flips.
I think he has a lot of love and respect. You hear the way some of the players talk about Aubameyang. He says quite unequivocally his problem at Arsenal was with Mikel Arteta, and I just think that that's just the way it's turned out. I think he has a great deal of respect for the club, and I think a lot of the players, if not all the fans, have a lot of respect for him. I certainly have a lot of respect for him. Yeah. But so I think, put that to one side, I think he might get a goal there. But I do think that the momentum's with us. I'm looking at the two teams right now. We are a better team than Chelsea. Like I said, they've scrambled together some very talented individuals in a short space of time, new manager. However, I think if you look at us, we are much more the complete package this season, and I think we've got more to play for, and I think we'll do it. Yeah. We've done well in there in recent times, and we've done very well against some of the last 2 times we've played them, and I think that will 3-1 is what I'm going for. But listen, bro, thank you very much. You've heard what Curtis has had to say on the game, on Aubameyang and everything else. You've heard what I've had to say. What do you guys think? Do you think we can go there, get a win? Do you think Aubameyang will play a part? If he does score, do you think he'll celebrate? How will the fans treat him? Will you have a pop at him? Will you show him a bit of respect? Are you indifferent? Let us know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Keep watching. Keep tuning in. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much.